Hello and welcome to ign-uk-podcast number 265. My name's Gav Murphy and I'm joined by ign-uk editor Alex Simmons.
What's up?
And also somebody completely new,
Hello.
but with an amazing beard. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Phil Robb, co-founder of Turtle Rock Studios and creative director on Evolve.
And you have an amazing beard.
Thank you.
What's going on with that? So I've seen this hashtag, what is it, no shave till ship?
Yep.
Hanging around.
That's what it was.
Okay.
We, last January, we were just, talking and talking about, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did, playoff beards essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, a bunch of the guys were like, yeah, let's do it. So we printed out a big contract. So it's
legally binding.
Yeah,
really official.
It's a really big, it's like poster size contract,
Okay.
right? And our writer made it sound all like flowery and yeah, we had like a whole bunch of guys, sign it, officially, and basically it's like, look, we're not going to shave until we ship. The fine print says you can shave when we pass cert for Sony and Microsoft, but I said that for me it's like I'm not shaving until I see it on the shelf.
Yeah.
People playing it, buying it,
Awesome.
and enjoying it. So yeah.
See,
Plus, I've grown kind of attached to it.
I feel inadequate.
Yeah, definitely.
My facial hair is pathetic.
It is pathetic.
Honestly.
Yeah, but
You've
you
embarrassed us today.
You could have a good beard. You could have a good beard.
It's really patchy. It's
Nah,
right here.
Yeah, you can pull it off. It just takes time, man.
I don't know if I could do a year.
Yeah.
So are you honestly going to shave it off after a year?
I'll probably keep the goatee, but
Yeah.
the cheeks will go.
What did you have before? Did you have any sort of facial hair before?
Yeah,
Okay, cool,
it's just
right.
a goatee.
So it's not too bad then. It's not too much of a
No.
stretch.
My wife is ready for it to go. Yeah. That's one of the ways we saw it. But honey, it's for charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you actually doing stuff for charity? So
Yeah, it was for
okay,
charity.
cool.
So basically what we said was, at the end, we would measure everyone's, beard length, and for every inch, we would give $50 to Child's Play.
That's very cool.
The sort of video game sick kids charity.
That's amazing.
Yeah, all the ladies in the office got to do a no clip till ship, so they grew their hair out, and at the end, for every inch they cut off. So yeah, we ended up donating like $11,000 something dollars
Shit,
to
man, that's
Child's
amazing.
Play, and then 2K matched it.
What?
So we were able to
That's very cool.
raise $22,000 for little sick kids that
That's
get to play
amazing.
video games, and yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Have you got any sort of beard maintenance tips for people? Like after growing it that long?
People don't care about video games.
You just
It's
gotta
a
always make
podcast.
sure. People gotta make sure when you're eating, you have a napkin, because it kind of gets all up in there. Yeah.
Did you learn that the hard way pretty early on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, particularly like the corners here. You
Yeah.
end up like you bite a sandwich and you're like,
Yeah, I hate that.
and it's like,
Yeah, that's not fun at all.
Yeah.
I like the white in yours as well. That's something I haven't had yet.
Yeah, well,
I'm looking forward to that.
Try running a studio for a few years. Yeah, we'll see if you manage to maintain your color.
Well, we've got like a little test for you to see if you can name the famous video game beard. You up for this?
The video game beards?
Beard-
Sure. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing I'll do good, but I'll give it a go.
Okay, so let's have a look if we can do this. So we've got Rich is going to show you a beard, and then you have to see if you can guess what the video game character is.
It'll pop up on the screen.
All right.
That's the first one.
What the hell?
That does belong to a video game character. We promise.
I'm just really shit at Photoshop. Alex, who's really good at Photoshop, sort of winces every time he sees me open the app.
I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. Tell it to me.
It's...
Zangief.
Yeah.
I almost said that, and I was like, yeah, but that could be anybody.
It's because the Photoshop is so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that
All
right?
right.
Just thrown by it. Just impressed by it. Let's have number 2, Rich.
All right, listen.
Because this is more...
That looks like hair.
It kind of goes all the way around. It's a
Yeah.
wraparound, I would say.
God, I suck.
It's from a Zelda game. I'll give you that.
A Zelda game? Yeah, but the last Zelda game I played was Oceanara of Time. I don't know.
It's
Sorry.
Darunia, the Goron. Can you see that?
Oh,
Rich?
God, I would have never guessed that. I don't even know who that character is.
We would have accepted Goron.
Okay, next one. This should be an easy one.
Hey, that's Bill.
There you
It
go.
is, yeah.
Yay!
Look at that. Look at the edges on that Photoshop. That's amazing, isn't
That's a
it?
good job.
There we go. It's the penultimate one then. Next one.
That looks familiar. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
Rich, let's get the answer. Barrett from Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah,
7.
yeah. Man, it's been a long time since I played that game.
Yeah. And the final one then, see if you can name this.
You guys are just setting me up to look like...
Sorry.
Setting me up to
You
look
got
like...
Bill, though. That's the key one.
Yeah.
A complete... see, there's brown over here, and there's red over there. I don't know.
What about a clue, Gav?
Well, it's from a classic sort of adventure title. It would have looked a lot worse than this when it first came out.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Is it LucasArts?
I got nothing.
It is LucasArts game. Have you got it?
Oh, okay. Curse of Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, you got Bill, so you didn't.
Yeah.
That's fine. If you didn't get that, then we probably about to end this podcast right now. To be honest, just to save you from the comments. But
I don't read the comments anymore.
Wise move.
that is, yeah. There we go. Well, that's fine.
Well, that was a complete fail.
That's fine because the next section is more about us chatting, so it's fine.
Okay, cool.
So the next section we're just going to talk about a little bit about what we've been playing.
Sweet.
So we'll have Alex kick it off. What have you been playing?
Well, I'm still playing Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is coming out on new 3DS in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, we're fortunate enough to get it early. Are you a Zelda fan, or you haven't played a Zelda for a while?
Well, the SNES one is, I think, one of my all-time favorites.
Right.
But then, I don't know, after that, they started to lose their charm for me. The one, I think it was Oceanara Time that they did like kind of a really sort of stylized art style, right?
Okay.
It was kind of almost cell-shaded.
That
right?
was Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yeah. I really like that one.
On GameCube.
Really like that one.
Yeah.
I did play Ocarina of Time, but so I'm kind of all over the place with my Nintendo usage.
That's all right.
But
But
the reason being is because Ocarina of Time was always my favourite.
yeah.
And then I played Majora's Mask, and I played it obviously when it came out years and years ago.
Yeah.
But the new 3DS version.
Oh, so this is a reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
okay,
it's
cool.
They've kind of made it look a bit better for 3DS. They've changed some of the boss battles.
Yeah.
But I think when it came out, it was in the shadow of Ocarina of Time, and it never kind of held the same charm. Actually, it does so much stuff ahead of its time. It kind of did sandbox games with side quests. What is it, 10 years ago, 15 years ago when it came out. Games that the stuff that Far Cry is doing now, and it does it brilliantly. You can choose to do the side quests, and if you do, you get masks that make you better, and they make the challenges easier.
Yeah.
Or you can ignore it and just go straight through.
Yeah.
And that's ahead of its time. So I'm very much on a Zelda tip. And then I was saying to Gav earlier, going through and playing Wind Waker HD because I haven't played that since GameCube, and that is a beautiful game on the Wii U.
Yeah.
And I've been a bit dismissive of the Wii U. Do you own a Wii U?
No. We got both of my sons got 3DSs for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So they've been playing Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah.
They've been playing Super Smash Brothers, which they just like make me look like a complete ass.
Yeah, I've never been good at Smash Brothers.
No, me
Like,
neither.
something just doesn't click with it for me, and I just I see people who are really, really good at it, and I just have no idea what they're doing that I'm doing differently. I'm sort of looking at them, going, "Hang on, what are you pressing?" Because I'm pretty sure I'm pressing the same thing, and I'm shit at it.
Yeah. Well, I was approaching it as a fighting game, right? And really, it's a sumo wrestling game.
Okay.
It's about pushing the
That's
guy
interesting,
out
yeah.
of boundaries and pushing them off, and so it's not so much about like all the combos that you can get. It's just about trying to knock them off the platforms and get points.
Yeah.
So once I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay, that's starting to make more sense, and then I was at least getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. My brain can't keep up with Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It's just
Because you're old.
because I'm old. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think it's the case.
How old are you?
I'm 40. Oh gosh, 41.
Oh.
Had to think about that. I'm almost 42.
Yeah.
Ben, the PR, has just gone 41. Fucking hell.
That's not that old.
And you don't look
it is
41.
for Smash Brothers, thank you.
It's fine.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing Majora's Mask as well, but there's a thing that it does which I completely forgot about, where like so you're timed everything you do, and by the
it's the moon falling.
Yeah, and
have you played it?
Yeah,
it's quite a big part of the game.
It's a huge part of the game, and I'd completely forgot about it. And I kept running out of time. I was like, "What is this?" And then when I came in and talked to you, I was like, "What's going on?" You're like, "Yeah, that's sort of the big
to
thing."
the point where you thought it was a new feature for the 3DS version, which is like, oh my god.
I'm gonna have to pick this game up for the boys.
Yeah, you should.
It's really good.
Interesting because my boys haven't had a Zelda experience yet.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
I think
see what they think of it.
Yeah.
But that's really. I'm also playing the Swapper on Vita as well, which I really, really
I've
like.
heard a lot about it. I haven't played it.
It's good. It's free on PS Plus this month or last month. I think it was.
Yeah,
it's really weird, but I really, really like it. It's a sort of weird little indie title, but it looks incredible on the Vita as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've been playing is it's not really playing is this iOS game called Dreeps.
Right.
Which is...
Never heard of it.
It's really weird. It's like an alarm... It's basically... You're going to hate it. But it's done by these like amazing sort of illustrators. And it's basically an RPG game without the actual game bit in it. So you have to set an alarm every night. Like you would set an alarm to go to bed anyway. And then your little character guy... he goes to sleep, and then when he wakes up refreshed when you do, and then he goes about this little sort of like RPG adventure. So but you can only watch it. You can't actually do anything in the game.
Right.
So it's just like having a really nice screensaver. So I just sort of have it on just on my desk, and I look at it now and again. It's really odd, but it looks
then
amazing.
when he does his thing,
yeah,
do you get to like RPG style assign like
you don't get to do anything?
No, you just watch.
He does it all himself.
So you don't influence it at all?
Not really. Not that unless I don't know what I'm doing.
What happens if you don't give him enough sleep?
Don't know. Well, I've set my alarm. Right, I've set it right now to go off in a bit. So we'll see what happens because I don't think he should have been asleep at that point. So maybe
I'm just thinking, he does his thing, right, and then you can adjust his sort of stats or whatever.
Yeah, no,
and then that would affect what he does. But no.
So at the moment. There he is. So my little sheep.
That's a sheep.
Okay. Well, what is it with the Brits and sheep?
Don't know.
The Welsh.
Yeah.
I will specify.
Oh, okay.
It's a famous thing that we've got a lot of sheep in Wales.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, I know because after Left 4 Dead, we did a little iOS experiment where we just made this cute little sheep hopping game.
Right.
And it did okay.
That's kind of a radical departure.
That's why we did it, right? We're like, well, let's just make something like sickeningly cute.
Yeah.
And it took us like 3 months. It wasn't a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Just something to sort of change things up a bit. So anyways, it did pretty well. But in Britain, it did excellent. Right? And I was like, okay, well, I guess
they like sheep.
The Brits really like their sheep. And
yeah, I don't know.
There you go. You can have a territory-exclusive monster for Evolve that's based around an enormous
rabid sheep.
Yeah.
And do really well in
People would
Wales.
love it.
That's good. But we'll see what happens at 3:15 when that goes off anyway.
Okay,
but,
so what's he doing right now? He's just like walking in place.
Well, the sheep is just a sort of visual representation of the robot kid who you play as being asleep. So it's just asleep at the moment.
Oh, he's asleep. Right, I was going to say, I thought that was the game.
No.
If that's the game, and you sit there and watch that,
it was £2.29 as well. Which, I don't if anything I've got to pay for on iOS, I always sort of think
get your money's worth.
It's a cute art style.
Yeah, it's cool. It's all like that, and some of the monsters are amazing. It makes you really want it to be like an actual game that you can play because it just looks incredible. But at the moment, I'm not playing anything, unfortunately.
Are you? Do you get the chance to play much else, or is it just evolve?
No, I've basically when I get home at night, it's like I get home fairly late. Put the kids to bed, and talk to my wife for a little bit, and then she goes to bed, and so then I've got a few hours to myself. So mostly I've been playing Destiny.
Yep.
I really ended up liking it, and kind of in spite of myself, I didn't think I was going to.
Yeah, same here.
It's one of those games where I kind of looked at it and I was like, it looks pretty, But the characters were kind of they just had masks, and I felt like they were kind of lifeless. So I kind of wrote it off for a while. But then the alpha was about to start for Left 4 Dead, and I was like, okay, I got to get a console so my boys and I can play in the alpha. I looked, and so I ended up getting a PS4.
Yeah.
the Destiny version, because my son was like, "No, you got to get the Destiny one, Dad. You got to get."
Oh, the white one.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. So I got that one, and I was watching the kids playing, and I was like, this looks kind of fun, you know. So I started playing it, and the next thing I know, I got level 31 hunter, and, you know, and doing the raids and all that stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah, I've ended up, and you know, it's a good game. I mean, I think I'm not quite sure why a lot of people consider it. Like, you know, I see on the forums and stuff, people are like, it's a failure. I was like, nah, it's not a failure. It's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing that mostly. And then, there's this other kind of game that I've been playing called Evolve that, you know, just...
Any good?
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty fun. You know?
Yeah, I had a similar thing with Destiny. Like, I sort of resisted it for ages, and then sat down and played it, and I was like, I really love this. You just feel really powerful, even with, like, the hand cannon, when you're walking around, just like, even though I know I should be using, like, a pulse rifle or something like that, I just can't get rid of the hand cannon. I just keep going around and just blasting them. Well, it feels cool.
The gear thing, you know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of just a winning formula.
Yeah.
I mean, Diablo did it, and, you know, kind of started it many, many years ago, and that's a powerful sort of compulsion hook, you know, or loop.
Definitely,
you know, getting all the gear. And plus, you know, I mean, I've got enough buddies now that are playing it, you know, that I can get in and I can play with some friends. We get the voice chat going.
Yeah.
You know, so I've been able to sort of tag along in the raids, because I would not be able to do them on my own.
Yeah,
They're ridiculously hard. But, yeah, I like it. You know, it's a good game.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain to someone why you like her as well. Like my girlfriend, who doesn't play video games but watches me play a lot of video games, and usually if it's a sort of story-led game, she's into it, because she's like, "Oh, cool! I really like this story. It's really good." Right. But with Destiny, she was like, "Okay, so what's the story?" I was like, "Right, well, I don't know really."
Yeah, I don't really even know what the story is. You know, but honestly, I mean, the thing is, like, I remember you remember GoldenEye? You guys played GoldenEye way back. There was one level where it was all in the snow, and you could just set yourself up on a sniper tower.
Yeah.
And I remember I would get in and I'd play that mission, and I would just sit in that sniper tower and snipe dudes for hours, right? Not even do the mission.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I find I'm able to do that in Destiny. You know, I'll just like set myself up in an area, you know, wait for guys and just annihilate them. You know, and it feels really good. And then every once in a while, like, okay, I'm going to do a quest. You know, I'll make some progress. But I feel like it's just one of those games that, for me anyways, you know, not having a lot of time, I can just get in and play for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a huge time commitment. And, you know, and it's fun. And you're right, I get to feel powerful, but then I get to do some things that are challenging. You know, it's all sort of like based on what I want to do and how I feel that night.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can appreciate that.
No, definitely, yeah.
Plus, it's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just like going through the raids and stuff, those were levels that I hadn't gotten to see, you know, and so like the guys are like playing, and I'm like going, wow, you know, it's dead. Yeah. God damn it, you know, pay attention.
Yeah.
So yeah, mostly that. I've been playing some Hearthstone. I got a bunch of cards in the Gnomes and Goblins, you know, expansion, and that game,
it terrifies me. I've seen people get properly hooked on it.
It's a lot of fun, but I found that I want to play ranked, and I want to get ranked. You know, I want to move up the ranks. But I get to a certain point, and it's like, no, you're just not good enough, Phil, and you never will be. You know, no matter how many cards you buy, and, you know, and no matter what deck you look up online and make. You're just never going to be. You're never going to be any better than rank 15.
Yeah,
is that because you haven't got the time to put into it, or?
I don't. I mean, I got to imagine that you know, at some point you really have to know what's in your deck, and you've got sort of worked out what the chances are of the thing coming up next. Are I don't know. I mean, I know some guys that are, you know, ranked pretty high, but 15 is the best I've done, and maybe I just really suck at it.
How much have you spent on cards?
Maybe about $200.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know some people who.
It's like $10 here, $10 there. Yeah. You know, I think the last time I spent $20 on a bunch of Goblin and Gnomes.
They make it so easy as well, like to buy cards.
On the iPad.
I think that's the thing that terrifies me. Yeah. Like that, all of a sudden you've just spent loads of money on it.
But it's a nice game. Yeah. I mean, it's a very super
cool game,
simple. I mean, you know, in terms of just the play mechanics are very simple. My boys understand it; they like to watch it. And,
that's cool.
Play it, and so yeah.
How old are your sons?
11 and 8.
Okay, cool. Have they always been? I guess obviously, they've always been around video games and stuff. So like, how young were they when you started them on things?
I remember my son James playing Rogue Squadron on the GameCube.
Awesome.
Was it GameCube? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. When he was like 3.
Okay, cool.
And he would fly around, and basically I couldn't watch because the screen was just going like this.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point like, Dad, do it. And then I would play for a little while. And so yeah, they've always been around games, and it's only been recently where we're getting to the point where they're starting to play games that like I'm interested in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, Destiny was the first one, so I've got the Hunter. And then my youngest he's like a level 26 Titan.
Awesome.
And then and then James, my 11-year-old has a level like 26 or 27 Warlock.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool because I
your own fire team.
I come home and like I'm playing, right? And they've been watching YouTube videos about it all day. They're like, "Oh, Dad, if you go over here and do this certain fucked up hard thing, right, you'll get this thing."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay," and they're telling me all these like sort of random facts about the game, and I don't know, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's really good. What about movies and stuff? I mean, obviously, you're making a pretty big game. Have you seen anything recently that you really liked?
On the plane over.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
I watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, yeah,
the second one.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
I love them.
Movies.
They're amazing.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. I don't get to see movies very often.
The only thing that does my head in about those films is they're called. I confused the titles because the titles are wrong. The titles should be switched. Like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes should be the first. Which one's the first?
It was called,
I don't even know now.
Wasn't it called Dawn of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
Oh.
Something. I'm pretty sure it was.
I think Dawn was first. Rise was second.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, but
I guess. Well, yeah. I mean, it's if you do a little bit of mental gymnastics and mess with words a bit, either one could work, right? Because dawn comes first in the day.
My mind does not work.
And then you rise after the dawn.
Yeah. That does work.
At least a lot of people do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Some of us can get up before the dawn, not me.
I saw It Follows, which is a horror movie which is out. It might already be out in the US, but it's out in the UK next month, I think, which has really shit me up. Like really, really affected me.
Oh yeah,
no way.
I never get scared by horror films, but I had to come back to the office to do a little bit of work after it. So I went to the screening by myself, walked back by myself, came to the office, and I was the only one here.
Yeah,
and it's a film. It's kind of like The Ring.
So what's the premise?
So it's kind of like The Ring,
okay.
but it's sort of all young kids. But instead of watching a videotape and having to pass on the videotape to somebody else, so the curse passes on, it's sexually transmitted disease.
Okay.
So basically, you have... It's so weird, right? So
what were you doing in the office that night?
Oh, man. I had to wipe a lot of stuff down after. You're dead.
HR.
So basically, say you've got it, right, Phil? We have sex. You pass it on to me.
Okay.
Then there's a thing that just follows me. That's why it's called It Follows. So it's just a person. It can look like a person. It can look like someone you know. It can change its form. But all it does is just walk after you. And when it catches you, it kills you.
Okay.
So you've passed it on to me, but you can still see it. But if it kills me, then it's going to come back for you, and then it's going to go back down the line till it gets to the first person.
Oh, okay.
So basically,
yeah, because I was just about to say it doesn't seem to make much sense, right? Yeah. Why would it kill the thing? Because then it wouldn't propagate. But I guess if it just goes back down the line, so eventually it's working towards its own annihilation.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know how many people. It doesn't go into where it started or anything like that.
It's just weird.
It just focuses on this sort of group of friends that it's affecting. And it's a really horrible film because it makes you think about your own life and everything that you've done before that. But also because it can take any form. Sometimes it's just you don't know that it's coming for you, and you're not infected by it, or never been infected by it. You can't see it.
Right.
So me and Phil will be able to see it, but you won't be able to see it. So
not that big thing that's standing by.
Exactly. So I could be sitting here, just me and you having a beer or something like that, and I can see it, but you can't see it.
Right.
And what does it do? It just stands there and looks at
it? Just follows. It's constantly walking.
So if it was standing right over there, would it be walking towards you?
It'd be walking towards me to get me, yeah.
Right.
Well, there's two of us, right? There's two of us can see it. Why don't we take it out?
Well, this is the thing. This is what they just sort of try and do in the film, and I won't go into too much because you just have to see it because it's really cool.
Okay.
But
so they all like banged each other so that they could all see it.
No, that doesn't sort of happen like that. Like they basically this guy infects this girl with it, and that's sort of where it starts.
Right.
But you see like a couple of deaths and what it actually does to you when it gets you, and it's really disgusting. But the thing that really scared me about it was it can look like anything. So sometimes it looks like someone they know. Other times just like a normal person in the street.
But how do they know?
Exactly, they don't. So they're walking down the street and then all of a sudden they'll just see something.
Their best friend just walks up and like
that's right.
Does
it can do that. Yeah, it can do this. It's all kinds of stuff like that. So I was walking around like Soho, walking back here, and there's just one person walked towards me. I was like, oh fuck!
Oh my god! You shouldn't be watching films like that.
Yeah, I know. It was awful, and like it's a really sort of creepy concept. And sometimes it looked just normal, and other times it looked like something really weird, and like there was like one with no teeth, and like she was peeing herself and stuff. Like it can look like that.
That's Soho, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's a really, really great film. It's really, really good. The soundtrack is incredible. It's like really, really intrusive music, like really sort of like loud synths. And I sat right at the front as well, which I kind of wish I hadn't. But yeah, I was back in the office like with my headphones on, editing something, and every now and again, just take it off. There's something there.
Just the cleaner standing behind you.
It's horrible, but it's one of the best horror movies I've seen in ages.
There you go.
And not just because I was shit scared of it either.
Yeah. That's the whole point of a good horror film.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's good. What have you been watching?
It's mainly like kind of TV shows. So Arrow, mid-season. I haven't started the mid-season second part of the season yet. Do you watch kind of any like Arrow, Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No,
Game of Thrones is obviously coming up soon.
The last, well, okay, so I've got 3 programs that I watch. I watched Sons of Anarchy.
Awesome.
We can talk about that more if you want. I watch Justified, which I'm waiting for the next season.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, which I'm ready for that to start.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for the new season of Vikings.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, those are my shows.
Yeah. Like I tried getting into Sons of Anarchy, but I just couldn't get past the main guy, Charlie Hunnam. I'm not a huge fan of his.
No, I'll tell you what. I watched the first season and I loved it. Right. And then I felt like the first season, like I fell in love with this show, and then I watched it die of cancer over six seasons. You know, but I could never let it go. Right, because it's like. First season was good. Second season is pretty good.
Yeah.
Third season, okay, what are we doing here? Fourth, you know what I mean? By the time we got to the end, I'm just like, okay, I just have to see it through.
That's really sad, though.
You've taken all these characters that I loved and made me despise them or kill them. And, you know, so I felt like it was like I was there for my good friend, you know, in his last days.
Putting it to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it like doing the mercy eyes.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe there's a lot of people out there that really like it and they're going to be like sending me hate Twitters and stuff like that. But
well, I read the other day, like the main guy, he's apparently he worked on the last series because Krupa watches it, like one of our other guys, like he watches it and he really, really likes it. But apparently the main guy, like even though he wrote the last series, it changed quite a lot from what he wrote to what actually went out. Apparently, I don't know how true that.
Yeah,
is,
I don't know. I don't really know. At that point, like you know, I stopped. Sort of. I was just like, okay, I got a new episode. Watch.
It's hard when it gets
just kind of do it.
Yeah. I mean, the main character, he was a great character, and he just they kind of turned him into, you know, this kind of villain. So, but by the end, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I think it's time for you, you know, to go, pal.
Yeah. I guess that's quite a popular thing. So I guess like Breaking Bad did it quite well, like and like Sopranos, they're like you're always watching a sort of villain, and I guess some people like that, and it's, you know, it feels like it's something original.
Breaking Bad was an interesting one. I mean, I watched it from, you know, beginning to end, and I would have to go at it in like chunks.
Yeah.
Because I started late, I was able to sort of, you know, so I'd watch like three episodes and I'd take like a week break.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, God, these characters are repugnant and this is depressing.
It's hard.
But I love it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, it's like everyone, a lot of people were sad that, you know, what happened to Walt. And I don't know at this point if we're worried about spoilers, because come on, if you haven't seen it by now.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Yeah. But, I was kind of like, I never liked Walt from the beginning.
Yeah.
He like went from pathetic to just complete asshole.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas the other character,
Jesse.
Yeah.
He started out as like, oh god, and then by the end you're like, okay, I kind of like Jesse.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Like, because I couldn't watch it. I started watching it when it was first on TV over here, and then it was on like BBC for a bit, and then they stopped it.
Didn't really get picked up over here.
No, not at all. But yeah, I stopped watching it because of Jesse. I was like, I can't watch this. He's like a cartoon character. He's getting on my nerves so much. I was like, I just can't watch it. And then when he started getting big, everyone was like, no, you should really go back to it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did, because he's got a really, really cool arc.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's good. But yeah, Broadchurch is really big at the moment over in the UK. Have you watched any of that?
What is it called?
Broadchurch.
Broadchurch.
It's like the most British crime thing you could ever watch.
Okay.
These are the people, these are the sheep people, like, as well. These are the kind of people who've been buying sheep games. But it's about this sort of like sleepy little town and a murder that happens and how it tears it apart. But the first series is amazing.
It's really good. I've just finished watching the first season. David Tennant is in it, the Doctor Who guy. I can't forget the name of the woman, but the chemistry between the two of them is brilliant.
Yeah,
and it tackles some pretty big stuff.
It's really fun. But have you watched the second series yet?
Yeah, I've caught up with it because I know the new one starts. The latest episode is tonight, isn't it? So I watched episode 3 yesterday.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's good. I think the first series is all on US Netflix, I think.
Oh, yeah?
At the moment,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. That reminds me of the other show. I watched the Peaky Blinders.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, I really liked that. That was a good show.
Yeah, it's really good.
I was really happy at the end of the last season.
Yeah.
That's right. Take that.
Yeah, you should check out Broadchurch. Especially the first series. Maybe stop there, because I'm 3 episodes into the second series and absolutely despise it. You like it?
Yeah,
it's bullshit.
Anyway,
well, can you stop watching it after the first
Definitely.
season?
Yeah,
I wish I had.
It's self-contained.
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like American Horror Story, where you can watch like.
No, it's not kind of like that. It's but I don't think they knew they were going to do a second series, so it rounds off.
Now they're trying to like pull it all back together. And,
and it's like basically like you have like the murder and the solving of the murder in the first series.
Now what do?
They've gone into court.
Oh, jeez.
And talking about the murder.
It's way better than he's painting a picture of. Anyway.
Okay, cool. So we told our Twitter followers that we were getting you in today.
Okay.
So we've got some questions for some people.
Okay.
So,
I'll do my best.
Yeah, that's cool. So the first one then, I've got Prepared Death. He says, did you delay Evolve so you could keep the beard? # no shave until ship.
Yes, totally. No. That's we delayed Evolve because we just felt like we needed more time.
Yeah,
and there were quite a few disappointed and angry wives.
Yeah,
my wife was like, "Are you kidding me?"
It's like not because of the actual game, just like, "Oh, you gotta keep that beard."
Yeah, that's actually, she was like, "Okay, whatever." I mean, she's a little disappointed that I was going to have to keep working late hours and stuff like that. But mostly it was like, you're going to keep that damn beard.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've grown attached to it though. I got to say, I'm going to be sad the day I got to.
I'll be sad the day you shave that.
Yeah.
Like that's quite hard though. Like, I mean, when you are working on a game and you guys know, okay, we're going to have to delay this. Like, it must like be such a shit decision that, I mean, obviously you guys don't take decisions like that lightly.
No.
At what point do you have to go, right, we're going to have to do this? And
for us, we looked at, okay, so here's what we have done, or here's what we will have done.
Yeah.
Are we going to be, is that where we want to be? And we looked at it and we said no, because we had a lot of stuff done, and we had a lot of polish in, but at the same time, there were too many sort of rough spots, and it is a hard decision, right?
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, okay, well, we're delaying, it means we're going to have to, delay this sort of end period, and we're going to be doing it longer, and, it's going to cost, that means you got to go with your hand out, and ask for more money so that you can finish it. It's never sort of a fun place to be, but at the end of the day, we sort of looked at it and we said, no, but this is the right thing to do. The game needs this extra time. And the guys at 2K were fully supportive and agreed, so it wasn't that bad.
That's cool.
Good stuff.
It's always more scary and kind of going into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you just like, we need more time.
Yeah.
There, I've said it. It's
right.
on the
yeah, even with the spit too, right? And
makes it more dramatic, it's
right?
fine.
And then it's like, yeah, you do. And it's like, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. I got an email from Joel Keatley, I think you pronounce his name, saying, how present will the storyline be in the game? Will it be more of a thing the team members chatting about it to one another, or will it actually carry through?
No, it's we like to call it light narrative, right? Yeah. The story is there for people who are interested. You know, so the characters do talk. That's mainly how it's delivered. The characters are sort of talking to each other. Yeah, and you learn things about the characters, and you learn things about the world and sort of what's going on. They theorize about what the monsters are and what their motives are. But at the end of the day, you know, if you don't care about the story and you just want to play the game, it doesn't get in the way.
Okay,
you know?
Right.
For us, it wasn't. We never wanted to make a game that told a story, right? We don't have a story to tell. To us, the important story is the one you tell the night after, or you know, the morning after you had a big playthrough the night before. Oh, did you remember that thing? You know, when we ran through the tyrant pool and the tyrant pool came out and grabbed it. Those are the kind of stories I think that for us are important. Right. I mean, I don't know if you guys did this, but I remember like back when we were working on Counter-Strike, or even like before we were working on it and we were just playing it. Yeah. Every day at lunch, there were Counter-Strike stories. I ran around the corner, I threw a flashbang. Everyone was blind. I shot him. I won the match. Yeah. You know, those are the kind of stories I think that at the end of the day are the most fun. Now, obviously, we want you to have sort of a context. You know, why am I here? What am I doing? Yeah. And we give you that. But this isn't, the game is not and never has been, nor did we want it to be, once upon a time on the planet called Sheer.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You know, that kind of thing. So,
oh, my dude's waking up. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
I think he hasn't had enough sleep. Oh, here we go. No, there he is. So this is him.
Okay, so he's just walking.
Yep. He's walking.
That's what you do, is just watch that.
Walking through the
when you should be editing video. Wow.
Okay, there's an apple tree. Is he going to pick up an apple?
Nah, he won't pick that up.
No, he's just going to walk past the apple tree.
Yeah, he's going to walk past that.
Dude, what?
It looks nice though, doesn't it?
It does look nice. I'm just like
you don't actually interact with it at all.
Where the fun is. Where's the fun?
Yeah.
Well...
the fact he can't answer it straight away. I mean,
there's something about it that pleases me. I don't know.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's nice having it just like, while I'm working, you just have it like off there and you'd be like, oh, what's he up to now? Oh, he's walking a bit more. But like he'll run into, stuff now and again. Like he'll have a little fight, run into characters and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do really wish it was an actual game because I would play the shit out of it. But unfortunately,
you just watched.
Oh, here we go. Fight.
Sweet. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, he's having a little fight there.
So, but you have no control over how strong he is.
Nope.
Does he ever lose?
Yeah.
What happens if he loses? Does he die?
I don't remember. Because the thing is that like, if you miss it, like stuff is going on all the time.
Right.
Like it's just it's a really good.
So you have to kind of watch it. It's become addictive, I guess.
He just won it. So
okay, so you beat the robot.
So you defaced the Montesa and got 18 XP. So
all right, but what's the point of having XP?
I just leveled up. I just leveled up as well. So.
Well, he leveled up. You didn't.
Well, we're in this together, to be honest.
Anyway,
but that's him. I like it.
Hey, I don't judge. I'm not judging.
Okay, so we got a tweet from Hype Rustic who says, what were your inspirations for the Goliath? He looks so cool. And also, if there was a fight between Goliath and Behemoth, who would win? He says Team Goliath.
Well, inspirations, mainly, because Goliath was kind of like he was sort of our Evolve spokesmonster.
Okay.
He was the first one that we developed, and so he was the one that we tried to make sort of the most accessible, the monster that when you see him, you say, oh, Evolve. You know, and when you see Evolve, you think Goliath, right? And so basically, since he was the first one, he was kind of the one that benefited from sort of the most obvious monster references, right?
Yeah.
The ones that you think of when you think of giant monsters. What do you think of? You think of
Godzilla.
Right.
I think dinosaur from Jurassic Park instantly.
Okay, well, King Kong.
King Kong, exactly. I'm sorry about my colleague. That's okay. Plays ridiculous games.
I'm always thinking about a single monster.
It's okay though because I couldn't name any of the beards except for Bill's. So, and so Goliath is pretty much like kind of a mashup of Godzilla and King Kong. I mean, he breathes fire. He's got the big spikes on his back. Yeah. He's kind of lizardish looking.
Yeah.
But then he can also climb like a big gorilla and throw rocks, and so that's mainly where the where the inspiration, for Goliath. As far as who would win in a fight, that's hard. I gotta, yeah. I don't know, man. Because this thing is, if Behemoth gets a hold of Goliath, that's not so good. But Behemoth's going to have a hard time getting a hold of him.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I think we're just going to have to wait and see.
Who's your favorite monster in
My
Evolve?
favorite monster is Kraken. I like Kraken because he's kind of a... With Goliath, you kind of got to be up in the fight, right? And it sort of requires a level of reflexes and stuff that my 44-year-old body just doesn't have anymore.
Yeah.
But Kraken can kind of hang back. He can fly. And he sort of is able to sort of fight with the whole battlefield in sight, more or less. And so I think he's my favorite. Plus, just he's got that wizened, elder horror look about him. That is kind of hard to resist.
No, that's awesome.
And do you, when you've been playing it at work, do people have very specific roles? I always want to play as the hunter, or I always play as the monster, or do you mix it up a lot?
I think, well, there are guys that have their favorites, and then there are other guys that'll play anything. I tend to either go assault or support. Those are sort of my preferred choices, but we've got guys that like to do monster. And then we got guys that'll do whatever. Yeah. It's just, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at monsters, so that's generally why I don't.
I was really bad when I played as a monster.
That's okay. Well, I mean, that's the other thing that's kind of cool about the game is that, there are, I'm a co-op guy. I love the co-op aspect of the game. The monster to me is a little more kind of stressful and pressure, because it's all me, right? If I lose, I suck.
Yeah, it's your fault. There's no one else to point the finger at.
But when you lose as hunters, you're like, okay, well, we suck. That's okay.
Next time, be a bit better.
It kind of takes a little bit of the sting off of it. So I mean, everyone sort of just they have different sort of preferences, and that's the way it goes.
Frank Martinez writes in saying, I heard that the campaign will alter day to day based on previous mission progress. How exactly will that work?
Yeah, so that's true. So basically, Evacuation campaign it's the 5 days of the evacuation of Sheer, and that takes place over 5 rounds. So each round is a map, and so first day is always hunt.
Okay.
Last day is always defend, and then in between, the players get to sort of vote on what mission and map they want to do. Between each round. But the way it works is, let's say we're on fusion plant.
Yeah.
And I'm the monster, and I win. So basically, I have succeeded in destroying the fusion plant. So in the next map, there will be radioactive clouds that sort of float through the map, right? And anytime the hunters come in contact with those clouds, they'll take some damage.
Okay, cool.
So and then say the hunters win that next round, right? Then depending on what map that is, they'll get a perk for the next round. So that continues over through the 5 days, 5 maps. The last one's always defend, and that's sort of like the last stand scenario, and then whoever wins that is sort of that's the person who wins.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think you got the last one. I haven't got any more.
This is from Torren Ram Scrim.
Yep.
It says, how do you guys come up with ideas for hunters, and how do you find that balance point between hunters and monster?
Ideas for hunters generally kind of come from we look for sort of a theme. What do we want this guy to be? Well, how about let's do an electricity themed guy? Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, what kind of well, he should have a weapon that sort of arcs, and automatically attaches, and and sooner or later, we get around. Oh, that's Markov, right? Yeah. So it usually starts with some kind of a gameplay idea,
right?
And then once Chris and the guys have sort of hammered out what the gameplay hook is, then he'll hand it over to the concept artists, and the creative team, and then they start sort of trying to figure out who that character is,
right?
And that's generally how it goes.
Yeah. Were there any kind of surprises, like when you came up the concept, however many years ago? What was the kind of biggest change that you had to make from concept through to the game all shipping?
I think probably the biggest one was initially the way we had it set up was there were going to be 4 characters, a lot like Left 4 Dead, right? Yep. 4 sort of distinct characters. And it was Cabot, Kyra, Abe, and Parnell. Those were the 4 characters.
Yeah.
And what we had was this huge sort of armory of equipment, guns, all kinds of stuff, right? And you were meant to go in and you were to pick, okay, I want this, 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 and this, right? And the idea was that you coordinate with your team. It's like if I take, the healing pack, you don't take it, you take something else.
Yeah.
But that was like really overwhelming, and it was really difficult for people to sort of coordinate their choices. And what we ended up with was situations where people would take a certain loadout, where they may as well not even play the game. Right. I mean, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Guaranteed you are going to lose. And, it's one of those things where we were like, okay, that's a failure on our part, right? We should never create a scenario where you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
So, we went through sort of a bunch of, just basically, iterations on, okay, well, how do we address that? And finally we sort of came to the conclusion that the loadouts should be set, right? I mean, because the other thing that we found was, okay, so you've got big-ass, gnarly machine gun, binoculars. What are you going to pick, right? Okay, I mean, there might be a few people that take binoculars, but I'm going to take the big-ass or gnarly machine gun, right? And so there were some items that were integral, really important for gameplay, really, important for helping you find the monster, but nobody took them because they weren't sexy.
Yeah.
So, once we sort of came to the conclusion that we need these to be set loadouts, then we could put the cool stuff in, and the sort of the more utilitarian, less sort of sexy things.
Yeah.
And that sort of led us down the road. Well, why do we only have to have 4 characters, right? Because we had so many different loadouts and stuff like that, it meant that the characters themselves had to be very generic.
Yeah, of course.
So that they could sort of work with all of them.
Yeah.
And once we realized, hey, those loadouts should be different characters, right? And we can have a whole bunch of characters, right? And suddenly that, at least on the creative end and the character design end, opened us up to making some really interesting characters, right? We don't have to make sure that, if we only have 4 characters, each one has to be, sort of as ideal as possible, right? And sort of, appealing, across the board. But if we have 12 characters and all of them are a little different, we can do some kind of weird, quirky stuff. And if somebody doesn't like this particular character, that's cool. There's 11 more to choose from.
Yeah.
So that's how, we ended up with, kind of these more strange characters like Lazarus and Hyde. They're a little more sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Unique and kind of quirky.
Okay.
But that's okay, right? Because even if you don't like Hank, right, which a lot of the guys in the studio don't, right? Yeah. Because he's kind of, he's got that sort of good old boy redneck thing. But a lot of people do like him.
Yeah.
So like the Brit in our office loves Hank.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was going to say, I love Hank, yeah.
Well, it's because, he's sort of that I think what people abroad sort of have come to think of as Americans. That's cool because Hank, he's a lovable character. Yeah. Which is, but the funny thing is, in the office, a lot of people really like Hyde.
Yeah.
Because he's that, he's basically a younger, uglier, sort of nastier version of Bricktop.
Yeah.
From Snatch, He's sort of what we think of when we think of a big, mean, British thug.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know what you guys think of Hyde, but
yeah, as a British person, I don't know. I do quite like Hank, but then because it's just a bit silly, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the one with the robot dog? I forget.
The what?
The alien dog. Sorry, not the robot dog.
Oh, Maggie.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah. I think a lot of Maggie's charm is Daisy.
Yeah. But that's the thing that I loved when I played the game is that I know it sounds like such a cliche, but every match felt different.
That's the idea.
And now I haven't actually had the chance to actually get good at any of the characters, but that was part of the charm is actually trying to figure out which one I'm going to play as. And like going back to Destiny, when we were talking about Destiny, is that I started off as a Warlock, and then that's just not how I play games.
Right.
And I switched to a Titan, and straight away it felt a lot more natural.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to doing with this, is, you know, finding like where we sit. And we're already planning is that, you know, we're going to have, you know, 4v1 in the office.
Sweet.
You're going to be the monster. Look at you.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I think I'm like drawn towards monsters, not because I look like most of them, but because, I don't know, it just seems it's a new thing.
You're not a team player.
You know, I quite like sort of that sort of like asynchronous sort of gameplay. I am a team player, but I like sort of going off and doing sort of my own thing as well. Like I think that's like, a lot of the stuff that I like with the Wii U, so you can go off and do these like little weird things. I think one of my favorite games on the Wii U is like Mario Chase, which is you v 4 people, which I mean essentially is Evolve, but in Nintendo land.
Very different. Yes, it's very different.
It's pretty much the same. So, but I think that, I mean, have you seen sort of patterns in teams? Like, because you guys have been testing it pretty, you know, publicly, opening it up and stuff. But like, have you seen a pattern evolving in like the types of people who play together, or what people choose, or is it just completely different?
Well, we got so much like data just over the weekend. 2.2 million rounds played, a little bit more, you know, but I don't remember the exact number. So we've got like sort of a huge sort of of data, which is awesome, right? I mean, we were like, woohoo, you know, and so I think, I don't even know if we've sort of gone that deep into it yet. That's kind of my partner Chris's deal. You know, he's design director, and so he's always in there sort of looking at the numbers and comparing and stuff like that. But you know, hey, coming out of it, 51.5% win rate for the hunters. So we felt pretty good about that. That's really damn close.
Were you surprised by that? Because I am a little bit.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
Well, we in the alpha we were 56% in favor of monsters. And so we had to make some adjustments to Kraken. We came out of that. We came out of beta seeing that Wraith was a little bit too tough, too rough, and I think we went a little bit too far with Kraken. So we're gonna kind of pull him the other direction again. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see that we were able to take the data from the alpha, look at it, make changes, and then come out of the beta, much closer to sort of 50-50. So we were super happy with that.
Because I think that's, you know, one of the things is like, as the hunters, you really do need to play as a team to to work properly, which I guess is a little bit, I guess you had to with Left 4 Dead, but I could still play with a bunch of randoms in Left 4 Dead and succeed, whereas I think I'd be much better if I was playing with my friends and we had a battle plan going into it. Yeah,
I think, I mean, certainly communication is pretty important. I mean, even when I played in the beta, I found it a little more difficult when, you know, people weren't using their mics. And, you know, I mean, but I didn't care. I just kept talking. Like, you know, I just... And I could see people reacting to what I was saying, so they hadn't muted me, which was cool. You know, I'd be like, you know, plant here, or, you know, watch out for this or that. Oh, there he is. And I would see them reacting. You know, their characters would peel off, you know, sort of in the directions. That was cool. But we never won until one guy jumped in that was using his mic as well.
Really?
And then as soon as we got that second mic, and, you know, there were two people communicating, we were able to sort of split up, and he'd be like, okay, I saw him over here, and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to head to the left and try and cut him off, and that round we won. So you know, I think communication is pretty key. I mean, I think you can do it without, but it certainly does add another layer of challenge to it.
It'd be really hard without, I guess, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Really, like, you have to be able to do that.
I mean, you can use your ping. You know, there's like the little you can push the right stick down to sort of ping stuff, and that obviously helps a lot, right? I mean, there's almost becoming this sort of unofficial ping language. You know, like if you blink, 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 that's like, okay, I see the monster, he's over here. You know, versus just, you know, one blink means, okay, you know, there's a corpse over here, or, you know, I see something that indicates that, or maybe, you know, there's danger here, whatever. But that certainly helps. But I think ultimately, you know, sort of getting over your shyness and turning the mic on.
I have to say, unless I'm playing with friends, I've never got my mic on. I never chat to people.
I met some pretty cool people. That's nice. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, if you sort of open up to that, you know, you're going to find you're going to find people who are like, but you're also going to find people like, wow, that was really fun. I like playing with that guy, and then you add them to your friends list and you got somebody else, to play with. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What was the kind of hardest thing? Because like on paper, Evolve's actually quite a hard thing to kind of explain to a game, and I guess the beta was, and the alpha before that was hugely helpful for. That's the feedback that we've always got from talking about it, writing about it. It's like, yeah, I get it, but I don't get it. And then I guess when you play it, then it all comes together. How hard is that for you as a developer to actually get that message across?
Well, that's why from the very beginning, we say when we show stuff, we're showing gameplay.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously. Most games, they'll just be like, here's a cinematic trailer. Look how cool our game's going to be. It's like, okay, that's great, but that doesn't tell me anything.
No, it's crazy.
So for us, it was always, okay, well, anytime we do that, we have to accompany it at least shortly after with some gameplay.
Yeah.
Because I think what we didn't want to be like, coming off some of the other games that came out that maybe sort of did a little more peacocking and didn't show sort of what was behind the feathers, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think when you do that, people get an idea in their mind of what it's going to be, right? And I don't think the reality can ever live up to...
Definitely not. Not to some of the amazing cinematic trailers, no.
Right. It'll never live up to that. Or even just your imagination. Like, hey, we're coming out with this game. It's going to be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, shit, the best thing ever, that could be... and your mind starts whirling, what's the best thing ever? And then it comes out and it's like, well, okay, if I hadn't gotten my expectations up for it to be the best thing ever, I might actually really like this game.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to, strut around like a peacock and show our big fancy feathers without actually showing you, the meat of it.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing, priority was as soon as we can, we want people playing the game.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I feel like since it's different, we want people to know what they're getting into, right?
That makes sense.
Because it is kind of a new concept, right? And without, in an absence of information, people make assumptions.
Yeah.
And we see this quite a lot. And so the more information we can give people about it, the more sort of informed they can be coming in.
Yeah.
And so that was the plan from the very beginning.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys, obviously we'll have to touch on it a little bit, but, you guys have been sort of firefighting a little bit with the announcement of all the DLC stuff.
Yep.
So we were just thinking, like, there's still everything that we read about is still quite long-winded and stuff. We were saying, like, in a nutshell, can you explain what the DLC plan is for Evolve?
Well, so our DLC plan was very simple. We don't split the community. We give as much as we reasonably can away, and then what we do make you pay for. Again, do not split the community.
Yeah,
and give a reasonable a way of people sort of experiencing and benefiting from the paid DLC. So in the case of maps wodes. If we do ranked mode, if we do observer mode, anything that's sort of like an overall sort of game system, that would just put that out.
Yeah.
Right? Just have fun. In the case of like characters and monsters, they're very involved, right? And they cost a lot of money to make, a lot of time and effort. And we can't make those for free, right? But one of the things, and we were pretty happy, to think it's like, well, okay, you don't, even if you don't buy it, we don't want to segment you away from the people who did. No. So you should be able to play with those guys, right? I mean, you can see, so basically it's like, okay, you bought, whatever DLC character, came out. You really like them. That's cool. Hey, we're playing together. That's cool. And maybe I like it enough and think it's cool enough that I want to go buy it. Or maybe, I don't. That's it. So there is sort of just, your experience is enhanced by the mere presence of it, right? And you don't have to buy it, and it's completely up to you. That was, as developers, that was our main sort of thing, because we knew going into it, right? I mean, anytime as a developer you go talk to a publisher or somebody that they're going to ask you what's your plan for post release, right? And almost always, you're like, okay, well, you try to think of the things that are the most obvious. For us, it's like, okay, well, characters and monsters, those are pretty compartmentalized. We should be, even though they're sort of a big investment, that it doesn't require us reworking large sections of the code. It's kind of just like, hey, we make a new character, boom, we put them in, sweet. That for us was kind of a no-brainer. It's like, well, okay, you want to know what our post-launch, plans are. We keep it balanced. We do, all the sort of maintenance stuff, obviously. And then, we've got ideas for maps and modes. And then, for the other stuff, hey, characters are pretty easy. We got lots of ideas for characters. Yeah. We got more ideas for characters and monsters than we have time to do them all. Yeah. So that, for us, was just kind of an obvious thing. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the worry, I guess, is that it's going to become almost like a play to win thing, where you guys are going to make this amazing monster that if people who pay X amount, and God, they're going to have an advantage. And that, like, without the game coming out, I guess you don't have almost that trust yet that people are going to go. Right. They would never do that.
And that's even though it's been frustrating, that is certainly one. It's like I have to sort of let it pass based on that. It's like, okay, you guys don't know us. The last game that we made that was like sort of big is kind of many years ago when we were with Valve, which is kind of a completely different situation. Yeah. Right. Okay, fair enough. You have every right to be skeptical. I think where it starts to get disappointing is whenever it's just sort of turns into blind cynicism. Yeah. It's like, oh, you guys are just out to screw us. Well, no, we're really not. Yeah. We're just trying to make a living and make a great game. And, and work within like the industry that we're in, right? Yeah. And so, I don't know.
It must be hard though, I guess. Like, you make these announcements and you say little things before the game is out, and like, is it hard just making a game under such scrutiny just constantly? Because I mean, like, everyone now, because of the internet, has got a voice and can tell you like straight away. Like, I was just looking through your Twitter before you came on here and just looking at some of the people.
There were some good ones in there from last month. What was it? Money milking or puppet money milking something or other. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how to respond to that, dude. I mean, it's like I think Twitter is definitely an imperfect medium for having sort of rational discussion. I think it's more sort of suited for throwing a shout out to your buddies or hurling insults. Yeah, and it tends to be any kind of like thought that you want to get past ends up being like 3 or 4 Twitter posts.
Exactly.
Which is why I mean, myself and Chris and like a lot of the team actually spend a lot of time on our forums. Yeah, we have a great community, I gotta say, so far. I mean, the guys that are on the forums are supportive. They'll call us out, when they think we're doing something, but they're also very rational when we sort of explain, no, that's not actually what we're doing. Yeah. Here's what we're doing. Yeah. And so I like spending time on our forums, which is, as a developer, rare. Yeah. Because a lot of times the forum is just kind of a toxic place.
Absolutely.
And the nice thing is, that, I mean, the guys the guys on the forums have actually largely sort of policed the forums themselves. Like, we really don't have to do a whole lot, I mean, if somebody jumps on the forum and gets all toxic and starts spewing around, like, misinformation or assumptions, then generally those guys will be like, no, this is what they're doing. Yeah. Right. And
that's good. Yeah.
That's awesome for us. Yeah. I really love those guys. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'd like to talk a bit about just like your inspirations for the monsters and the characters as well, a little bit. Like, I mean, obviously there's a huge, rich world of just movie monsters and TV monsters and video game monsters. Like, what are some of your sort of favorite monsters out in the world that don't belong in the Evolve game?
Favorite monster? Well, I mean, certainly like, Predator, the Xenomorph from Aliens. Yeah. Aliens, I think those are... is there a sci-fi game ever that hasn't been sort of influenced by Aliens? I'm not really sure. Those are 2 really cool ones.
Did you manage to play Alien Isolation at all?
I have it. I have it loaded up on Steam. Yeah. It's installed. All I got to do is press play, and I just haven't had a chance to. Yeah. I'm really sort of anxious to. I've heard it's really good.
It's a really good one, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the ones that sort of jump to mind immediately. I mean, I don't know. I got nothing.
That's cool, man.
What about? Did you see the Godzilla movie that was that last year? Yeah. What did you think of that?
Not enough Godzilla.
True.
The parts where Godzilla was on the screen were awesome. Yeah. I wanted to see more monster fighting. Yeah. I wanted to see less like sort of emotional, like, father-son moments. Yeah. But I enjoyed it.
What about Pacific Rim? There's a lot of monster fighting.
I saw that with my boys. That was actually a lot of fun. Yeah. I mean, you know what? It reminded me of when I was a kid. I would run home from school, like kindergarten, first grade. Yeah. Run as fast as I could because I didn't want to miss Ultraman. I had this like shitty little black and white TV.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, fuck with the bunny ears, right? And turn to channel 53 and I'd watch Ultraman black and white.
Yeah.
And it gave me that sort of same, like, kind of giddy kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, look at the big monsters fighting. It's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. And that was, like, one of the first, like, movies that, like, my kids were sort of old enough now that I could take them. It was a movie that we both wanted to see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like that movie. It's good fun.
Awesome.
Is there any, like, if you were given the opportunity to do Godzilla DLC for Evolve, for example, is that something you'd like to do?
Not really.
You'd like having the creative freedom to come up with your own kind of thing?
It's not so much that. It's just like, at that point, you're kind of like putting a big tear in sort of the fiction of your world. You know? And it's like, wait, where's this? This is coming out of left field. You know, I know a lot of people loved it, but I remember like Soul Calibur had like Darth Vader and Yoda in it.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I agree. Well, like Mario Kart had like Mercedes like SUVs in it, which is like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you want a Mercedes SUV in Mario Kart?
And I get it, you know, from a business point, I get it, right? They saw an opportunity, right, for you know, some attention and stuff like that, and I guess it makes sense from that point. But I don't know. I don't like that stuff. It's the same reason, like when I played, I was a huge Tekken fan. Yeah. Right. But then like they had Gone in Tekken. I'm like, why do I have this dumb little like cartoon dinosaur? You know, fighting Paul Phoenix. Yeah. You know, it's like, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that. I don't know. I mean, we haven't really sort of been presented with the opportunity, so I don't know what we'd talk. I'd rather do Gamera than Godzilla, because at least Gamera kind of looks like a turtle. You know? Although I don't know how we'd do the sort of like blue jet flames coming out of his backside. That's just kind of weird. That's a special movement, right? He can fly. And,
Well, that's something definitely you could just think about on the plane back.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. You know, we've thought, oh, what if we did this or what if we did that? Yeah. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I think everyone in the studio is just kind of lukewarm on it. Yeah. And
I guess you're in a good position where you can look at all this world of monsters and go, I like that, I can improve on that. I can improve on that.
Sure.
And having just like one thing and having to be beholden to that, that'd be kind of hard to go back to, I guess.
Yeah. Well, plus like Godzilla is like, he's enormous. I mean, he's like hundreds of feet tall. We'd have to like shrink him down. Right? Yeah. And that'd be kind of weak.
They'd probably go crazy for that as well.
Or Godzuki.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't think says no one ever.
Smoke rings.
Like, what about, obviously, you know, you're working on Evolve, but what about Left 4 Dead? Are we going to see anything from Left 4 Dead again soon?
Not from us.
Really? You've left Left 4 Dead for dead?
Well, I mean, unless like Valve gets it in their mind that they want us to do it, which I don't. You know, I mean, I think that we're pretty much done. You know, I mean, they kind of went a direction and we went a direction, and we still love each other, but you know, they're doing different stuff than what we want to do. I think if we had the opportunity, sure. You know, we had a lot of ideas that we didn't really get to explore. You know, coming out of Left 4 Dead 1, and so I think we could do a good job, but I think. Left 4 Dead that's all Valve. That's their deal now.
It's in the past.
We moved on, and that's for us. It's we're going new directions.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And are you quite a nimble studio?
No, that's fine.
No. It doesn't. I don't think a week. I don't think a week goes by where I don't get that. Make Left 4 Dead 3. It's like, sorry guys, we don't own it anymore.
But we have made Evolve. If you want to play that,
this game's good.
But like, how much of your future is Evolve, or is it? Have you got other kind of stuff that you want to work on?
Oh yeah, we've got other stuff we want to work on. I think how much of our future Evolve depends a lot on. How well it does. Yeah. How well it's received. Do people keep playing it? Do those community? Are we able to sort of keep a strong, sort of vibrant community over a longer period of time? Yeah. Maybe we get in and people start screaming for a sequel. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, we're kind of playing it by ear. We've got sort of enough work to keep us busy for a while. Yeah. And then if not, we've got a ton of pretty cool ideas, sort of sitting in our safe, just percolating, waiting for their chance. I mean, Evolve, sat in that back, back shelf for since before Left 4 Dead.
Right.
It's percolating, waiting for its chance. So we've got some pretty cool, innovative stuff, in mind for other games as well. So one or the other.
Yeah. Like one of the things, like so you said, like keeping the game ticking over. Like I think one of the things that surprised me was Titanfall. Like before Titanfall came out, there was so much excitement, and obviously for the first kind of 2-3 months, a lot of people playing that game. But one of our guys in the US, he's on a pro team, and he was just saying the support for that game for high level was really, really limited. And so 6 months later, no one was playing it. Like, have you got plans for kind of esports integration with Evolve, or is it very much kind of something you want to keep ground level?
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. Were you guys at Gamescom or any?
Yes,
any of the shows?
I was at Gamescom.
Evolve. Every time we've taken it out, it's not only do we have people waiting in line to play it, but we've got a ton of people just standing around watching it on the big screen. And it wasn't like kind of a planned thing. We were just sort of pleasantly surprised. Wow, look at all these people watching the game. And they seemed like really kind of riveted. Yeah. And, we'd sit there, sure enough, this is actually really fun to watch.
Just giant monsters is awesome.
Yeah. But, I mean, the game, even though the game is very deep, and it has its complexities, when you watch it, I mean, it's very simple, right? These guys are trying to find this guy, and when they fight, they fight, and that's very simple and sort of entertaining to watch. Yeah. So we started, to get this. Well, maybe there is something here. Maybe there's something that the esports guys will want to run with. And we started doing the shoutcasting, with Dave and Justin. They just kind of that was just one day where they're like, hey, why don't you try it? And they did a really good job, and it made it more entertaining. Yeah, they're like, sweet, that's pretty cool. So the plan was never like, hey, we're making an esports game, because that's I think a bit presumptuous, but. If that's where it goes, we're definitely down to support it. I mean, we're already sort of working on an observer mode, and we're working on some features to make that cool, right? Yeah. So that's like sort of step one. Okay. I think what we do initially is sort of hit it very high level, and sort of enable it, and then see sort of where the community goes with it and what kind of things they want and what kind of things they ask for, and then we sort of go from there.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Should we do what's out this week?
Quickly touch on the games and films that are out this week.
So we got Big Hero 6 movie.
It's been out in the US for a long time.
Yeah, it's good.
It's only just coming out in the UK.
Yeah, I took my kids to see it. We had a great time. Yeah. Very, very fun movie.
Yeah, I really want to see it. But
it had some darkness to it. Yeah. Like, it was a little darker than I expected it to
Definitely,
be.
yeah.
So you guys have seen it?
I saw it like early last year. Oh, no, late last year, sorry. Yeah. It's
I've
very, very
seen
cool.
clips. I've seen, obviously,
I mean, it wasn't anything that I was worried about taking my kids to. But, but it's good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of like death and stuff in it, but there's also some really, really good like physical comedy in it. I was pissed myself all the way through because Baymax, this is like giant
hilarious
thing. Yeah. It's really, really funny. Yeah. But we've also got Kingsman: The Secret Service, a very, very British film from Matthew Vaughn. It's really violent, apparently. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. But it's like super violent, and there's some really crazy scenes in there, which I'm really, really looking forward to.
Do you know much about it?
I've never even heard of it.
It sounds good. Colin Firth, who is like the quintessential English actor, but really being a proper badass.
Yeah,
nice. Which that's
they've Neesoned him up.
Yeah,
can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And also Inherent Vice, Paul Thomas Anderson film, which I have seen and is awesome. It's really, really good. Do you know anything about that, really? It's a Thomas Pynchon book, and he's adapted it. But it's really, really good. It's kind of like, I don't know, Big Lebowski style. Very, very funny, really, really odd. Loads of characters in it. Sort of ignored for the Oscars, like criminally, because it's really, really good. And Joaquin Phoenix does an amazing job of playing this. Like,
what was it called again?
Inherent Vice.
Inherent Vice.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I think it's also.
It doesn't surprise me that I missed it, because I'm kind of in another world.
Yeah.
Right now.
So that's really good. Games wise, we've got Grim Fandango Remaster, which I'm very excited about.
I never played Grim Fandango.
Really?
Never played it.
Did you play it?
No, I didn't. No. But I mean, I've always liked the art style.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like that kind of quirky, dark thing that they got going. So maybe I'll pick it up this time.
Yeah, it's PS4 and Vita as well, which I was really excited about.
Nice.
I'll play loads of that on Vita. We got Life is Strange from Square Enix, which is
supposed to be really good.
Yeah, it's meant to be really good, and it's episodic as well. So they're releasing it like almost like a TV show, and kind of like sort of Telltale games where they're going to release like episodes of things, which is becoming like a really big thing like lately.
Well, that's cool because I mean you can do something smaller with a smaller dev team, and just get it out there. there quicker, and then just sort of work on it on an episodic basis. Yeah, no, I mean, I really like the Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
So.
And finally, we've got Dying Light, which is the first-person zombie
from Techland.
Which we haven't played because we haven't been set a code for it.
So it's actually out tomorrow in the US, out on Friday here in the UK. And
there's been some guys streaming it and stuff, but I haven't heard a whole lot about it.
We did a bunch. So the developer, because they're in Poland, I think, so they're not far from here, really. So they came into the office. We did a bunch of stuff. But how important to you is kind of like Metacritic or getting those kind of reviews out there early, or
as a
because you guys have play tested it quite publicly, so I guess maybe not.
As a gamer, I don't give a shit about that stuff. But as a developer, kind of forced to give it.
Of course,
give shit about it, right? Because I mean, a lot of sort of your future depends on getting a decent Metacritic.
Yeah. What a sad world that we live in.
Does it have that much impact that the difference between an average of a 7 or an 8 will mean X number of sales?
I don't know what it means for sales. All I know is like when you're trying to get more work. Right, and you're pitching a game or whatever. They're going to look at the Metacritic of your past games, right, as sort of, okay, can they actually pull this off?
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's entirely a fair way of going about it, but I guess it's what we got. So
yeah.
That's where we are in the world. Yeah, there we go. Well, thank you very much, Phil, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
When can people play Evolve?
So February 10th. It's coming up. February 10th. It will be out, and it's on all PC, PS4, Xbox One, and I hope everyone plays it and has a great time.
Yeah, and make sure you stick your mic on because you might end up playing with Phil.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.